The Kumtor deposit is one of the largest in the world. Moreover, it's one of the highest in the northern hemisphere. Gold ore is being mined and processed here under extreme conditions. Now we have a chance to follow the whole process from beginning to end. The mine, or site as the Kumtor employees call it in English, is located at an altitude of 4,000 meters above sea level, in a permafrost zone. Although adaptation comes quickly, the first things a novice experiences at Kumtor are a shortage of oxygen, hypertension, dehydration and insomnia. To see the high-altitude mine, we had to meet the basic health requirements set by Kumtor doctors. We are beginning to move up. Although the ascent is not steep for the time being, we are feeling the effects of oxygen shortage. Kumtor doctors in the Bishkek medical office recommend that during the ascent we drink as much water as possible, breathe deeply, and if possible, avoid falling asleep. We are not tempted to sleep though, as the scenery is breathtaking. The technological road that we are driving on to Kumtor from the southern coast of Issık-Kul runs along the Barskoon River. It's a cloudy day with the sun peeking through occasionally. Everything around us is covered in a blanket of pristine snow, and the giant fir trees and mountain peaks cutting through the clouds are quite impressive. Not only is the surrounding landscape striking, but the quality of the technological road itself is something to admire. We thought mountain roads were all bumpy and littered with potholes, and imagined that our trip to Kumtor would be a kind of roller coaster ride. Not the case here, no pits or bumps whatsoever. If only all the streets in Bishkek were this nice. In addition to the quality of the road, safety regulations are very strict here. Every passenger must wear a seatbelt and speeds must not exceed 30 kilometers per hour. At some places along the road, stopping is forbidden because of avalanche danger. How long is the technological road?
90 kilometers.
How long will it take us to get there?
2 hours or so, if the weather permits.
Are road conditions favourable today, despite the snow?
We're used to it. Anyway, you need to be careful in weather like this.
I see graders clearing the road. Is that regular practice?
Graders operate 24 hours a day. They cruise around, straightening things up wherever necessary. That's why the road's in such good condition.
Do you mean they do it on a routine basis?
Yes, they do.
Is there a special department that does this?
Yes, the earthworks department.
We have stopped at a place called Sarimoynak. It's the last resting point before we begin the steep ascent. You can see the road towards the Barskoon Pass winding up into the clouds. Once we reach the highest point of the pass, we'll be able to see the valley where Kumtor is located. Why did we make a stop at this precise place?
We always do so, to take a last breath of lowland air before the ascent.
What do these trucks, the ones that are coming up, what do they do?
That first truck in the convoy is a refueler. It carries diesel or gasoline. The drivers are maintaining a good distance between one another, as the weather's not too good today.
Here comes a second truck.
Yeah.
There's a lot of space between them.
Yeah, it's done for safety reasons.
As we learned, convoys travel up and down here every day, each consisting of over a dozen trucks. Normally, they are escorted by Kumtor security officers.
0766?
Go ahead.
We have 12 trucks now at Sarimoynak. We'll start in 10 or 15 minutes after checking the chains. On a daily basis, we deliver up to 600 tons of various goods to the mining site. Statistics show that the efforts of both the drivers and security officers yield good results. We have very few accidents, even though normally there are 20 to 25 big trucks traveling up and down every day.
The most challenging section of the ascent is between Sarimoynak and the Barskoon Pass. The road here has 30 switchbacks. That's why the trucks are moving slowly in today's weather. We are following the convoy as no car is allowed to overtake on this section. Fuel trucks form a long line stretching along the road. The first truck has arrived at the Barskoon Pass, while the last one is still far below. We decide not to wait for the last truck to arrive and move on. The Barskoon Pass gives you a view of the valley where the Kumtor mine is located. It's rather cold here, and you're breathing heavily from the shortage of oxygen. Your every movement makes you feel out of breath. Deep snow covers the surroundings. In May, when it starts to melt, a lot of hidden lakes will appear. Before entering the mining site, we were stopped at a checkpoint. The security officer let us through after asking a few questions and checking our identification. In addition, security officers furnished our car with a rotating beacon and a reflective flag. Anatoly, what are the beacon and flag for?
For better visibility. The mining site is crowded with heavy trucks. They do it for safety reasons.
Before I can enter the mining site, I have to undergo one more procedure, a search. The point of the search is to prevent banned items such as weapons, illegal drugs or alcohol from getting into the mining site. Moreover, nobody is allowed onto the premises while drunk. As well as this, doctors warn against drinking alcohol the day before ascending to the mining site.
Any newcomers, whether an employee or a visitor, will be subject to an alcohol test. A special device called a breathalyzer is used for the test. Look here, it reads 0. Now, you will need to take a deep breath and exhale slowly into the pipe. Okay, get ready. Thank you. No alcohol was recorded.
Anyone coming to the mining site is required to observe special regulations. Every visitor must wear a reflective vest while outdoors. Please put on this visitor's badge so that everyone can see you are a visitor. In addition, employees at all Kumtor facilities, including the mill, are required to wear hard hats and safety glasses.
I am through with the search and now free to move about the Kumtor mining site. Still, prior to visiting any production facility, I have to pass a medical. That's what I'm going to do next. Although I have no serious health problems, I feel rather ill here, especially when I walk too fast or uphill. It's all about oxygen starvation. I must walk slowly and breathe deeply. The medical office I'm walking to is inside the administrative building. All Kumtor employees are required to have a comprehensive medical examination once a year to be certified as fit to work in a high-altitude area. As for me, a newcomer, I have to be examined by the company doctor to see whether I can work in this extraordinary environment. As you can see, it's crowded now. Any Kumtor employee is free to come here at any time to get medical care like physicals, vaccinations, etc. But I have a different agenda. May I come in?
Come on in. Please take a seat. Have you just arrived?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
Sort of unusual. It's hard to breathe. This device will enable the doctor to measure my blood pressure, pulse rate, and the oxygen level in my blood. These three indicators will tell in what condition I'm in at the moment. Ideally, my blood pressure would be under 130 by 85, and the oxygen level would be at least 80 to 85%. If I'm alright, the numbers will be normal or close to normal. But if someone is sick or has drunk alcohol just before coming to the mining site, his blood pressure will exceed the limit.
To make the adaptation process easier, you should follow simple rules. During the first days, you should breathe deeply, walk slowly, and drink as much water as possible, since humidity here is very low. Plus, you should avoid eating too much before sleeping.
If my indicators happen to be irregular, or if I suddenly felt sick, the medical office would provide qualified aid, including putting me in the pressure chamber.
Patients suffering from altitude sickness can be put in this device, where conditions are the same as those at sea level.
The medical office equipment enables doctors to provide first aid in various cases, including injuries, accidents, infarctions and strokes.
That's where we provide various services, including injections. This is an emergency room.
Luckily, we have not witnessed a single accident during our stay at Kumtor. In order to see how the medical services work, we have asked a site employee to simulate an accident. So, let's imagine that a maintenance shop worker has a serious knee injury. The Kumtor mine has an emergency plan in case of an injury or an accident. Drills like this are periodically organized to train people to deal with emergencies. First, fellow workers are required to report the accident to their foreman. After evaluating the situation, he calls for doctors and security.
Does it hurt here?
No.
What hurts?
My leg. After examining the injured person, the doctors apply a splint and tourniquet and take him to the medical office, where they can provide aid. From time to time, the Kumtor doctors also have to provide first aid to people other than Kumtor employees, including shepherds, hunters, or mountain climbers.
Every doctor must be internationally certified in cardiology and traumatology and undergo practical training.
So, is it okay for me to work here?
Well, according to your results, it's safe for you to stay at this altitude.
Well, I've passed the medical and can now look for a room in the camp. Hi, may I check in?
Sure thing. I've been notified of your arrival and we have a room reserved for you. Is it your first time here?
Yes, it is.
Good, I'll show you the room.
The Kumtor camp is composed of 19 blocks. They are all connected together through a single corridor. Each block contains single and double rooms, as well as 3 and 4 bedroom apartments. The camp can accommodate as many as 1,700 employees and contractors at one time. They have visitors from time to time too. What is the accommodation like?
I'll show you everything. Here is block 13, where you'll be staying. There's a bathroom on one side and a shower on the other. Here we have wash sinks with hot and cold water supplies. Here is a laundry equipped with washing machines and dryers. You can use these facilities whenever you need to. Here is your room and the key.
Thank you.
You can leave your baggage here. If you are hungry, we can go to the canteen.
I'll be staying in a single room. It's small but very comfortable, quite comparable to a 3-star hotel room. It has a bed, a small table, a chair, wardrobe, TV set, and an independent heating system, which is very important when it's minus 40 degrees Celsius outside. The maintenance staff keeps the rooms clean and changes the bed linen. At an altitude of almost 4,000 meters above sea level, you have everything you need for a good night's sleep and recreation after your shift. The camp is like a regular city. It has neighborhoods, streets, busy intersections. Like any other city, it has rush hour twice a day. This is particularly noticeable here, near the canteen. Well, why not take the opportunity to try dishes prepared by local cooks? Here's the salad bar. I think I'll just have some tomatoes. bearing in mind the doctor's warning against overeating. Here's the dessert section. Hi, 2 chops and some French fries, please. No, I'd rather not. Here's what I'm going to eat. The Kumtor canteen offers both Western and Kyrgyz national cuisine. A Canadian chef is in charge of the Western dishes, while food we're all used to, like borscht, lagman and beshbarmak, is prepared by local cooks. On a daily basis, you can find rice, potatoes, beef, mutton, pork, fruit and vegetables on the menu. Twice a week we are given chicken, and once a week they serve fish. You are always able to choose from several items. You can eat what you want and as much as you want. Employees need proper nutrition when they work at such high altitude. The doctors, though, warn against overeating to avoid gaining weight.
Today's special is beef goulash.
Lydia Tashbaeva has been working on site almost from day one. In the past, it was quite different here. Not as convenient as nowadays, she says. You had to cut through the ice in a river to collect water, as well as peel potatoes or cut meat by hand.
Cooking at a high altitude takes some getting used to, but actually everything is more or less the same. The only difference is that you have to cook 2 or 3 hours longer because of the lack of oxygen.
Cooking is highly mechanized now, and heavy routine work is done by special devices. Otherwise, it would be difficult to feed so many people. The canteen is a large complex that, just like the rest of the mining site, operates round the clock. The Kumtor canteen has always been famous for its variety and volume. To cook meals, we need 1,500 kilos of mutton and 2,500 kilos of beef every week. On a daily basis, up to 100 litres of milk and 4,000 eggs are consumed.
This meat is supplied by our local producers from Karakol. Actually, we buy 80% of all foodstuffs in Kyrgyzstan.
It's very rare that the food prepared by the Kumtor cooks is left uneaten. There are practically no leftovers. The best way to say thank you to the cooks is to bring back empty plates. During leisure time, you can take advantage of the camp's recreation facilities. You can use the gym, or play billiards or table tennis. Also, there's a library and a Muslim prayer room in the camp. Just like people everywhere else, Kumtor employees like big parties. Nevertheless, the rule stands: no alcohol and no all-nighters. The work schedule must be followed strictly. It's 10 p.m. Time to go to bed, because tomorrow I have to get up at 4:30 a.m. Look, the corridor is completely empty. The day shift is already asleep, as they get up at 4:30 a.m. too. That's the end of my first day at Kumtor. I haven't learned how they produce gold yet, and I'm looking forward to it tomorrow.
I'm
going to start the day by putting on my work clothes. I was assigned a locker containing overalls like these. They're rather thin and won't do much against the cold, but they're worn to protect my clothes from dirt. They also have reflectors to make me more visible on site. I was given a warm jacket with some more reflectors, and I have to wear a protective vest, hard hat and goggles. You're not allowed to show up at the mining site without them. Special footwear is also required. The shoes are very tight and metal-lined to protect against heavy falling objects. They're also very warm. I will need some time to put all this on. It's awkward to do for the first time, but here we go. Now I'm ready for the pre-shift meeting. Kumtor is the largest mining operation in Kyrgyzstan. The mine alone employs more than 1,500 employees and contractors on a daily basis. The mine is operating 24 hours a day in 2 shifts, each 12 hours long. For better coordination, each group holds a pre-shift meeting. Here we are at the pre-shift meeting. They do this every morning so the current shift can receive assignments for the working day. It's 6 a.m. Normally a meeting starts with a senior mine foreman handing out assignments to his team.
Listen up, guys. We have 2 shovels operating in the pit. The 28th and the 23rd. Anvar, the 40th. 1240. You also follow the berm. Leave some space to your left for another shovel. 25th. Talas, you're working here. Clear the wall.
During these meetings, the senior mine foreman discusses safety violations committed during the previous shift. This is very important. Every violation, even a minor one, is subject to discussion in order to avoid serious accidents in the future. Also, the shift is informed of the blasting schedule. Blasting operations are daily practice here, and you can't do without them. To mine gold, you have to remove thousands, if not millions, of tons of compressed waste rock.
Blasting will be in the pit, both at the lower and upper ends.
The drilling and blasting operations group is conducting its pre-shift meeting in a neighbouring room at the same time. The mine foreman and his team are also discussing the place, time and technical details of the scheduled blasting operations.
Blasting today will be at 2 p.m. The top shop and the concrete plant are not safe.
The mine foreman has just identified what mine facilities should be evacuated. For security reasons, prior to blasting, the equipment should be removed from the mine. Those that are located at a safe distance will continue to operate. The meeting identifies blasting points and ore to be loaded into the trucks and delivered to the mill.
Our mine engineers plan both long and short-term operations at the mine site.
The mine's engineering department could be called its brain. They identify the places where blasting, drilling and mining will take place. Also, it's their responsibility to determine the amount of ore to be sent to the mill. The mill must be operating 24 hours a day. Every idle day costs the company a lot of money. Thus, the gold ore supply must be sufficient to allow processing and recovery to continue at the regular level, without overload or idle hours. Planning, distribution of resources and employees' attitudes regarding their duties are the key factors for the mine to continue operating efficiently. Otherwise, it would be impossible to produce gold in such a challenging environment. But let's return to the pre-shift meeting with the blasting and drilling department. The meetings can also be pleasant as they provide an opportunity to present awards to the best employees for outstanding observation of safety regulations. Kumtor has a system which encourages employees to comply with safety rules where they are praised and given bonuses. Employees who have worked for 5 years without a single lost time accident receive a golden badge and certificate. Those who have worked for 10 years get a watch, and a golden ring is given to those who have worked for 15 years without experiencing an LTA.
I've worked around the world. And what I find about the Kyrgyz working here at Kumtor is they're very hard-working, very intelligent, they're very honest, and they're also very upfront and tell you how they feel, and they also tell you what they want, and probably the most important, they're very safe workers.
After the meetings, everyone goes back to work. Safety rules forbid employees to travel around the mine site on foot. Therefore, all employees take Kamaz buses to their workplaces. expeditions were sent to the Kumtor area as far back as under the Russian Tsars. The first serious exploration here started in the 1920s, but it wasn't until 1978 that the Kumtor deposit itself was discovered. This building dates back precisely to that period. It was part of the Soviet geological settlement constructed by the Kumtor exploration team. During Soviet times, the Kumtor deposit was estimated to contain 316 tons of gold. About 200 tons were thought to be extractable using open-pit mining techniques. Nevertheless, the political leadership of the USSR rejected the feasibility report submitted by the Chief Department of Precious Metals and Diamonds under the USSR Council of Ministers as too costly. According to the miners' estimates, about 1 billion Soviet rubles, or about 1.5 billion US dollars, was needed to build the infrastructure. Development started only after Kyrgyzstan had obtained independence and was based on foreign investment. In fact, Canadian investors spent a mere $452 million to build the mine. Moreover, they did it in record time. Kumtor Operating Company was formed in 1993, while commercial gold production was underway by 1997. The Kumtor reserves have been re-evaluated many times since the discovery of the deposit. For accuracy reasons, this has become an annual practice. Yet, it should be mentioned that the open-pit mining method has yielded more gold than was estimated in the late 1980s by Soviet experts. Before producing gold, you must find the correct place to mine. This is the main task of Kumtor geologists engaged in daily exploration. The Kumtor deposit is located in the so-called Kumtor Trend within the Tian Shan gold belt that was formed over 200 million years ago. This belt stretches from eastern Kyrgyzstan, the upper reaches of the river Sarijaz, to western Uzbekistan, the Muruntau deposit. The deposit's gold reserves are still quite considerable. Kumtor's gold cannot be seen by the naked eye because, in geological terms, it's fine dispersed. This means that microscopic pieces form parts of other minerals.
You will not see gold here because it's too fine, about 5 microns in size.
It's part of a mineral called pyrite, isn't it?
True. It is found mostly in pyrite, but our latest research shows that it can either be free or form parts of other minerals.
So, Kumtor's gold is found mostly in pyrite and rarely in chalcopyrite. By the way, the latter, sometimes called fool's gold, is often taken for gold because of the way it shines. To locate the gold, geologists have to examine the finest ore cuts, up to 30 microns thick, under a microscope. In comparison, a human hair is normally 80 microns thick.
Here's a gold particle fused into pyrite and grey copper ore. It's on the border between the grey copper ore and pyrite. Here's another one, in non-metallic ore, also fused into grey copper ore.
Using drilling rigs, the geologists search for gold all over the deposit area, day and night. They take core samples to see whether the sections they are exploring contain gold and in what amount. The drilling process is underway now. This is the rotary part of the drill core that gradually moves underground at an angle of 68 degrees, making 1,600 revolutions per minute. We have advanced 270 meters so far. We need to drill more than 600 meters. When it reaches this mark, one more well tube will be attached and drilling will go on. Is the drilling going smoothly?
Yeah, it's going all right.
It looks like it's not the most difficult section, am I right?
Yeah, some other places are definitely more difficult.
For example?
It was more difficult in the pit. At Saritor too. The pit is rather complicated.
What drilling method do you use?
We use the hydraulic rotary method. We supply water to the hole and remove rock by rotation and attrition.
According to Roman, this hole is rather easy to drill. That said, it's still quite a feat, especially as all this happens at over 4,000 meters above sea level and at bitter sub-zero temperatures. These cuts, or polished sections, were prepared by Alexander, a sample taker.
This is what the geologists bring here after cutting cores for processing and preparing mineralogical samples. After that, they examine them under a microscope.
Sometimes even the polished sections cannot help determine gold content. In such cases, all you can see in the polished ore is pyrite and chalcopyrite inclusions. Is this gold?
No, all that glitters is not gold.
Ah, I see.
These are different minerals that behave like this in the transmitted light.
All these samples are taken from ore that was recovered underground. They are long bars, called cores, that are produced during drilling. Which of the core sections contains gold for sure?
Here is a section represented by so-called metasomatites. They're here in this sample of albite quartz. There's gold in here. At the moment, I can't tell the exact amount. The sample needs to be described, documented and tested first. The results will be clear after analysis.
The final decision as to whether the gold is present in an area under exploration will be made in this laboratory.
We are an assay lab whose mission is to assay ore supplied by various departments, by geologists, exploration experts who use diamond drilling, and by the mill itself, which needs to monitor ore processing.
The assay lab appeared at Kumtor before many of the other facilities, including the gold mill, were built. This makes sense, as exploration here had begun a few years before the first commercial gold was produced. Jokingly, the lab employees say that, like bomb diffusers, they have no right to error. They decide whether large-scale mining operations will be carried out in an area of the deposit. It is upon the results of their work that multi-million-dollar investments and the work of thousands of people depend. That's why the lab employees very carefully examine all the materials supplied by the geologists. They even do trial melting of gold. First, ore samples are mixed with the appropriate components. Next, special chemicals are added that are necessary for ore assaying, after which the porcelain crucibles are placed in small melting furnaces, and a lab melting starts at a temperature of 1100 degrees Celsius. After some time, the samples are taken out of the furnace. When they cool, the glass that was formed during the melting will be removed, and the sample will be sent for analysis. With the assay results in hand, the lab employees will produce reports on the gold content of the sample in question. It is only after the lab makes their final decision that the other mining departments will decide where and how they are going to mine and process the ore. Exploration has enabled the company to extend the Kumtor open pit mine's life to 2019, with production plans until 2026. The open pit is a true feat of engineering. A 4,200-metre peak once stood here. Now, workers are digging deeper and deeper to reach the body of ore. Kumtor is one of the highest deposits in the world. Only in Peru is gold mined in similar conditions. The sight of the Kumtor open pit inspires different reactions in visitors. Some are scared by its depth, while others admire modern man's ability to transform landscapes, making them meet his own requirements. I am in the so-called gold pit. This is the bottom, where the extremely high-grade gold ore lies. A blasting operation will be conducted today. Preparations are underway behind me, and a total of 152 holes will be drilled and filled with explosives. In a few hours, this place will cease to exist. You can't do without blasting in mining. In order to mine ore, you need to crush up rock, compressed over millions of years into an unmanageable mass. Otherwise, no equipment could operate here. Why are you blasting precisely at this point? Is it because this is waste rock, or because it's high-grade ore?
This is an ore zone, but the entire area has to be blasted, regardless of whether it's waste rock or not.
The gold content varies by section. Sometimes when they reach high-grade material, Kumtor employees can mine ore containing up to 200 grams per ton. But this isn't typical. Even at 10 grams per ton, the ore can be classified as high-grade, while lean ore may contain less than 1 gram per ton. 3 to 4 grams per ton is good enough. But to get to the gold ore, you have to remove millions of tons of waste rock. That's why year after year, day after day, blast after blast, the miners are steadily moving towards their target, the ore body. When you are here, you can see clearly that there is no cheap gold. Samples are taken by geologists from every hole and immediately sent to the assay lab for examination, after which the gold content of the samples will be known for sure. In addition, the geologists note the hole position data. A satellite helps them to do so. The purpose of this will become clear a little bit later. You're making a hole, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
How deep is it?
About 9.6 meters deep. You have to drill every hole.
What do you put inside?
First a primer, and then a standard explosive. We plant them in a specific way and fill them up.
The explosive is liquid. It's transported in special trucks. To perform one blast, you will need between 7 and 12 tons of the explosive. The open pit keeps operating while the site is being prepared for the blast.
There are currently about 100 truck, shovel, grader and loader operators working in the pit. There are also drillers and blasters, adding an additional 60 to 80 people.
Arbek Mantayev is a veteran employee at Kumtor. He began working for the mine in 1994 and worked at the construction of the gold mill. Later on, he was transferred to the mining department. One could say that he's come a long way from being an ordinary worker to a senior mine foreman.
As you see, I feel good about myself, my position and my working conditions.
Like 95% of the company employees, Arbek Mantayev is a Kyrgyz citizen. Moreover, 70% of those working for this mine are Issık-Kul residents. They easily handle sophisticated equipment used in the open pit. All these heavy-duty caterpillars, or cats as they are known here, graders and giant Liebherr shovels. So, how long have you been working as a shovel operator, Talibek?
Since the day the shovels arrived at the mine site.
For how many years?
3 years now.
Where did you work before?
Oh, I was a cat operator.
Ah. How long does it take one to learn how to handle equipment like this?
6 months or so.
Okay. Is this your cab?
Yes, it is.
May I get in?
Sure, you can. This one will lift the boom.
So, that's the joystick you use to control the bucket?
Yes, yeah, to lift or lower it.
And what about this one?
This one here, it's used to turn the turret platform.
Ah, the one we're in now?
Yes, yes.
I see. It's all automated and easy to handle. All you need to do is learn.
Yes, yes. You just have to learn.
Modern mining equipment requires more than just the ability to drive. One has to keep abreast of advanced technologies, including GPS. GPS enables mining controllers to coordinate equipment operation effectively across the mine site. For example, while approaching a shovel, a truck signals that it is ready for loading. After having loaded, a shovel's computer will say that loading should be stopped. That's why people handling joysticks in a shovel are called operators, not drivers. Waste rock containing no gold will be removed to waste dumps.
A total of 160,000 cubic meters is removed daily to the waste dump. That's 80,000 cubic meters in each shift, or 500,000 tons of waste rock.
The gold ore, in turn, will be delivered to the crusher. A crusher looks pretty much the same as a household meat chopper, only bigger. It pounds rock to the required size and, after that, the ore is sent to the mill. But let's return to the blasting site. Everything is ready over here. In accordance with safety rules, the open pit and all adjacent areas are to be evacuated before the start of blasting operations. When everything and everyone has been moved to a safe place, the chief mining foreman permits blasting.
Go ahead. Thank you, everybody. Give the all clear signal.
The first to come to the blasting site are the explosive experts, whose duty it is to see whether all the explosives went off and make sure there is no danger to humans or equipment. Equipment arrives next, followed by geologists. The geologists are holding a special satellite-based device enabling them to locate holes. From the blast, the assay lab has processed samples previously taken from these holes. The exact outlines of the ore body are now known. It is for this purpose they use satellite marking.
Here is the high-grade ore, and there's lean ore.
Do you see the difference?
Sure I do.
The gold content of ore is indicated by the colour of bands attached to different points of the blasting site. High grades, or sections containing high-grade ore of 10 grams per tonne or more, are marked with green bands. Next come medium grades, or sections containing ore of 5 to 10 grams per tonne. Such a section is marked with green or red. Medium grades of up to 5 grams per tonne are marked red. After all the sections have been marked by an ore control officer, equipment will arrive, and shovel operators will begin loading ore according to markings. For safety reasons, blasting operations are conducted only in the daytime. Production at Kumtor never stops. Work is in full swing day and night. The very birth of Kumtor became possible due to motor vehicles. Trucks were used to deliver building materials, equipment and foods along the winding roads up here, to an altitude of over 4,000 metres above sea level. Nowadays, the new generation of machinery enables the company to work efficiently and produce gold in a challenging natural environment. Kumtor is a domain of giant machines. Indeed, it's only this monster equipment skillfully handled by humans that is equal to the titanic work in an extreme environment. We shall begin our acquaintance with the Kumtor world of vehicles with ordinary Kyrgyz buses which bring company employees to their working places. Twice a day, at 5 AM and 5 PM, the drivers race their Kyrgyz buses about what was once a flying field to warm them up and offer them to the workers leaving for their working places. The Kyrgyz buses are equipped so as to make employees feel quite comfortable and safe while travelling to or from their working places. It will be recalled that the safety rules forbid any worker to move about the territory of the mine on foot. By the way, both drivers and passengers travelling by Kyrgyz buses or any other vehicle at Kumtor are required to be fastened with seatbelts. This is one of the 5 golden rules effective at the mine site now. According to rule number 2, anyone is obliged to follow all road signs. These signs indicate the direction of movement or possible dangers and limit the vehicle's maximum speed. Rule number 3 requires that any driver or operator of heavy-duty vehicles bear his license with him. Compliance with traffic rules at this mine site is closely controlled by the Kumtor Security Service. Aybek Shamurbekov is an operator of the heavy-duty truck, CAT 777B. It is the smallest of all trucks employed at Kumtor, although small is a misnomer. It can carry loads up to 80 tons, plus tons of its own weight. To become an operator, Aybek underwent a special training program. Operating a CAT 777B, as any other vehicle employed at Kumtor, requires not only driving skills but also a strong knack of modern computer and even satellite technologies. It should be mentioned that operating a CAT 777B makes the first stage of a heavy-duty vehicle operator's career at the mine site. After several months of work, Aybek will be given a more powerful truck. At some time later, when he has gained relevant skills and knowledge, he'll be allowed to operate a grader, a dozer, and finally an excavator. The whole training process may include 5 to 6 years. Meanwhile, Aybek needs to work carefully, without violating traffic or safety rules.
Расстояние между грузовиками, например, если мы стоим в ожидании, расстояние больших грузовиков
A distance between the heavy-duty trucks should be at least 11 meters when they stand in line, and 33 meters when they are in motion. This means we may not come closer. There are also special rules. For example, at crossroads, where there are no road signs, we have to follow special rules. We must make way for a loaded truck, for one.
Operating skills must become automatic. This concerns both IBEC and other operators. This is a guarantee that these giant vehicles will operate without accidents or breaks. CAT 785C is the next one in a series of heavy-duty trucks employed at Kumtor. It can take a one-time load of 130 to 140 tons. These monsters are 5 meters high and 11 meters long. Their own weight is 250 tons. But they are in no way the biggest of all those trucks that operate here day and night. In 2010, Kumtor's fleet of heavy-duty trucks was reinforced by a new model, CAT 789C. It is the largest truck that has ever been utilized by miners in Kyrgyzstan. According to the papers, its carrying capacity is 177 tons. It's over 6 meters high, 12 meters long, and its own weight is 317.5 tons. Between 2010 and 2011, the company purchased 36 CAT 789C trucks. Every such monster, adapted to operation in an altitude environment, costs almost $3 million, including delivery from the US to Kyrgyzstan.
The requirements of the machines to operate at Kumtor is they need to be able to operate at altitude is of paramount importance, and also our climatic conditions require the fleet to be able to operate in sub or minus 40 degree temperatures. So that places a particular challenge on the machinery and the equipment, and also for our facilities to be able to support that fleet in our particular conditions.
Maintenance of all vehicles is in charge of 2 repair shops, which employ about 500 people.
With the objective of meeting our reliability targets and maintaining our cost profile across those assets. Our aim and objective is to deliver that reliability and quality of work in a safe manner to ensure the safety of our employees. Within each of the facilities, we operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to deliver the service requirements to the Kumtor fleet.
We are providing 3 kinds of maintenance. First, overhaul. Second, assemblage. Third, minor repairs. Planned servicing is provided for all heavy-duty vehicles in turn.
The lower repair shop does not only deal with maintenance, but also the assemblage of this giant equipment. The fact is that this equipment is brought to the mine site knocked down, first by sea, next by rail to the city of Balakchi, and then to the mine site by MACK trucks.
The load is distributed like this. The first truck carries the frame and the engine, only the frame and the engine. Well between 138 and 140 tons. The next truck carries the front suspension. The body is divided into 3 parts, which are welded together at the mine site. As for the wheels, the 6 of them, they are brought here by 1 truck. Assemblage is done by the national employees alone, who consult from time to time the several expats in our department. We have mastered the assemblage process quite well, as we have been working here for 12 years.
The upper shop also provides repair, but unlike the lower one, it deals with heavy-duty trucks. It was even built so as to be able to accommodate the greatest of all our CATs. Emil, what's the most common cause of breaks?
Perhaps continued operation 24 hours a day. That's the prime cause, I guess.
Doesn't operation depend on altitude, weather, or some other specific conditions?
It does, a bit.
Where do you get spare parts? Do you purchase them or manufacture them yourselves?
We have supplies of spare parts. We order them in advance, and they bring them to our garage.
Do you have any machine tools to fit your needs?
Yes, we manufacture hydraulic hoses ourselves for any kind of Caterpillar equipment. Besides, we also have Liebherr shovels.
What are the most common problems you face when doing repairs?
Of course, there are problems as in any other job. The main problem is that the equipment we deal with is so big. All spare parts are very heavy, and this is dangerous.
How heavy may one wheel of a truck, like the Cat, be?
About 500 kilos, more or less.
And these dozer buckets?
The weight of the smallest spare part may be around 100 kilos, while the biggest parts may be as heavy as 2 or 3 tons.
The fifth golden rule of Kumtor forbids operating vehicles with defective steering or braking systems. The operator is not allowed to do even minor repairs in his own. Therefore, the mine's daily operation requires that maintenance provided by auto repair shops be of high quality. Everything must be done quickly and efficiently, especially if you do repairs to a shovel, loader or truck on the spot. Mechanics have to do a lot of work here. The mine fleet at Kumtor is really great. In addition to administrative vehicles, it also has approximately 160 units of mine equipment, including 9 Liebherr and 6 Cat shovels, 16 tractor-mounted dozers and 4 rubber-tired dozers, 11 graders and 84 heavy-duty trucks. Moreover, according to the modernization plans, the mine fleet will be expanded. The dispatcher office is what ensures the continued and efficient operation of the equipment at the mine site. It is here that decisions are made as to where precisely each of the vehicles should be employed. Management of the fairly heavy flow of vehicles can be efficiently exercised by means of advanced technologies. There are special monitors installed throughout the length of the routes and also on each of the vehicles that send a signal to the satellite via GSP. This system allows dispatchers to determine within seconds where each of the dozers or shovels is employed at the precise moment.
Она даже не в том направлении куда-то поедет, мы можем это сразу...
Any vehicle can be warned if it goes in the wrong direction. We can get in touch with the driver by radio, or he himself may see by his own monitor that he is traveling in the wrong direction. If he doesn't notice the monitor data, we send him a warning signal. Also, he can be warned whenever he is assigned a different mission. This is done via our system.
Тебя переназначили в другое. Это тоже сама система распределяет.
Smart equipment controlled by a quality specialist operates so efficiently that all loading or transportation never stops for a moment. Compliance with safety rules is also a factor contributing to continued operation. All this makes Kumtor one of the safest mines in the world. Gold at Kumtor is now mined by an open-pit mining method. In 2006, estimates were verified of gold reserves to be mined only by an underground mining method. Amid rising gold prices, construction of an underground mine was found economically reasonable. To gain access to the ore, the company in 2007 began construction of... no, not shafts, but ramps, or rather declines, as they are known here. As experts explain, shafts are vertical, while the declines at Kumtor are inclined 9 degrees, hence their name, decline. According to the design, underground mining will be carried out by means of 2 declines. The declines are being built on both sides and they're expected to meet underground at the depth of 300 meters. As in the open pit, the basic underground mining operations include blasting. The blasters planted 170 kilograms of explosives today. Explosives like this occur every day. For lack of national experts qualified in decline advancements in such extreme conditions, these operations involve expat specialists. Kumtor employs the most cutting-edge technologies that exist in the world today. This applies not only to advancement technologies themselves, but also to safety standards. This applies not only to advancement technologies themselves, but also to safety standards.
Kumtor has a very efficient safety service. To begin with, no one will be permitted to work unbriefed or untrained in safety requirements.
We were able to see how great importance is attached at Kumtor to safety when we arrived at decline number 1. We were met there by Daniel Kasumaliev, a safety engineer. He was to show us around decline number 1, which at that moment had advanced 620 meters. But first of all,
I'll have to brief you as we normally do any other visitors here. First of all, we employ identification badges. It is very important and you should know about it. As a visitor, you get 2 cards that are displayed on this stand. Next, you will exchange 1 card for a self-rescuer and the other for a flashlight. Your flashlight should correspond to the card number of the cell in which you got your self-rescuer.
What are these cards used for?
We need them for registration of all persons who go below ground. In an accident, we will know every person who is underground and will be able to take relevant action. Now I'd like to show you what kind of hard hats are used by the workers in the descent. Unlike ordinary hard hats, they have sloped sides that effectively protect the workers' heads against falling rocks. In addition, the hard hat has a fixture for a flashlight and its cord. As for the belt, it has 2 additional straps that are necessary for fixation of the self-rescuer and flashlight. Also, it has safety arrangements you may need in the event of working at a height. You will have additional safety belt fixtures. And here's a very interesting thing. These are safety boots that have metal inserts. Now let me tell you about the MSA 3100 self-rescuer, which you can use in an emergency. Whenever you see a fire or detect toxic gases, you will have to use this device. First of all, you will have to place it in the middle. It has so-called fixing clips. You disconnect them, and the upper lid will fall. Next, the device itself will be disconnected. This part will stay on your belt. You will hang out your neck belt and use this mouthpiece.
Далее вставляете ротовую часть. Делайте 2 вдоха.
Make 2 breaths using this, let's say nose piece, and then you will have to go to the nearest shelter chamber.
Исследуйте ближайшую камеру убежища.
After such a detailed briefing and several necessary procedures, we are ready to descend. In front of the entrance to the decline, you see warning signs governing underground operations. The decline slope being rather small, only 9 degrees, everybody travels here by vehicles. For lack of space, there is only 1 lane here. That's why the maximum speed here is limited to only 15 kilometers per hour. The decline workers normally travel by vehicles as well. Whether they walk, they are required to keep to the right. What if you meet a vehicle? What should you do in such an event?
In such an event, you should stop and establish visual contact. You can do this by means of your flashlight. The vehicle will stop, making way for you to pass by. After that, the vehicle will go on.
It's very noisy in the decline because of the working indirect heating systems, buried in the wall under special coating. These indirect heaters keep a fixed temperature, between 2 and 26 degrees above zero. A permafrost environment is kept by spraying concrete on the wire netting. This is one of the decline's peculiar features of Kumtor. Keeping a permafrost environment is necessary to avoid soil crumbling. From time to time, you can see recesses in the walls here. What is it, Daniel?
It's a safety recess. It can be used by the personnel as a shelter in an emergency.
Can they come into it now?
Yes, they can. They can escape into it an accident. As you see, it has a curtain that makes it possible to seal this recess hermetically.
What protective means does it contain?
Let's come into it and see. First of all, you can see fresh air supply. Next, we have an eye washing station, a first aid kit, a burn kit. Also, the recess contains a so-called action plan in an emergency and a fire extinguisher.
How many people can save their lives in a recess like this?
About 7 people, I guess.
In other words, it's designed for 7 people, right?
Approximately so.
7 at the most, right? 7 people can find refuge in a fire if it, God forbids, breaks out, right? Okay, let's go on.
All right, Sasha, I would like to call your attention to these light-reflecting poles. They are used to mark various areas. In this case, they signal that this is a safety recess.
The mobile shelter chambers, which are available in each decline and are unique for Kyrgyzstan, are really the pride of Kumtor. They are arranged in safety recesses close to the areas where people work. Each of them can accommodate 10 to 12 people. Means of communication, fresh water, oxygen, foods, toilet equipment and medicines are available inside them. In such a chamber, workers can stay for days waiting for help. These chambers cost more than $1 million each. But the company's commitment to safety requires that the declines be equipped with chambers like this. What makes operations in decline number 1 especially difficult is the fact that the decline is situated under a glacier. The ongoing ice movement can cause a collapse of roofing, which once did occur. While we were being shown around the decline, operations were underway in a bid to remove the mess of a previous slide. Small rock falling to the bottom of the decline indicates the possibility of a slide. Experts examine the places from which rocks fall and decide whether it's safe to continue work. Thanks to strict compliance with these rules, nobody was injured during the slide. According to the design, both underground shafts are expected to meet under the open pit in 2012, and then underground mining at Kumtor will start. The time has come to learn how gold is extracted from ugly grey ore. That's what the gold mill does. It was commissioned in late 1996, while commercial gold production started in May 1997. Millions of tons of ore have been processed here ever since. The gold extraction process is extremely difficult, mainly due to the fact that the gold found at Kumtor is in finely disseminated form, which means that it contains fine inclusions so small you cannot even see them. Even though it's not so easy to understand the gold extraction process, we'll try to do so. The primarily crushed rock is fed to the mill. The size of each rock should be under 20 centimeters. To extract gold, the ore should be virtually ground into dust. First, rocks are fed into this SAG mill. They are made to collide with one another and with these heavy, big metal balls. As a result, the ore is crushed and reduced into a mass comparable to sour cream. Next, it is delivered to this ball mill, where it is made to collide with these small metal balls. The substance that is produced is like milk, yet the process doesn't end at this. The result mass will have to undergo the flotation process. Flotation is one of the universally adopted mineral processing methods. The method employed at Kumtor is called froth flotation. The metallurgists use flotation plants to supply air to the bottom of cells containing the solution and add special reagents to make the gold-bearing solution foam. The gold-containing pyrite sticks to the air bubbles and goes up to the surface, forming soap-like foam. That's what we call gold concentrate. The waste rock will settle to the bottom, while bubbles containing pyrite will be floating on the surface of the solution. The plant regularly skims gold-bearing froth and supplies it to the washing treater. The concentrate produced by flotation will be supplied here, to the second ball mill. Here the tiny particles are made to collide with the small metal balls. Now they are not just crushed, but reduced to powder. The size of each particle is no more than 20 microns. In fact, it's as liquid as pure water. You can see it yourself, but even this is not the end of it. The mass that is produced will undergo ultra-fine grinding. The Kumtor technology is unique in that it enables the ore to be ground into extremely small particles. This makes the gold production much easier, and so small particles from the second ball mill are reclaimed for grinding to the ultra-fine grinding mill, the ISA mill, where the shaft resolves a speed of around 320 rotations per minute. The particles are made to rub against each other, and these small ceramic metal balls. The dust that is produced is, in fact, what gold is extracted from. The gold-bearing dust is fed to leaching vats. The leaching process involves cyanide, lime, air, and cold.
Вся эта каша вместе крутится, и из раствора
All this pulp is agitated, while gold ions are collected on the surface of activated carbon. Next, screens are used to separate the coal, which is supplied to the desorption section, where it is first subjected to acid treatment, during which its surface is washed. Then the properly treated coal is fed to the desorption tower, where gold is washed away with a barren, gold-free solution. Next, the gold ionized solution is fed to a special tank.
Затем раствор, насыщенный ионами золота, поступает в отдельный танк.
After that, it will be fed to bath furnaces, portion by portion. There are cathodes and anodes installed by turns in the furnace. Gold powder will settle on the cathode surface, from which the gold powder will be extracted in a special tank. Next, the gold powder will be fed to the press filters, where it is collected and prepared for melting. As for melting, we'll see a little bit later. The particular features of the ore at Kumtor are what makes the company permanently improve the process of extracting the tiniest gold particles. For this purpose, it purchases new equipment and employs skilled personnel able to introduce cutting-edge methods and technologies.
Innovation is our top priority. We never stop at what we've already achieved.
A good balance of state-of-the-art technologies and professional qualifications of the employees is what enabled the company to obtain significant results. The gold mill at Kumtor remains not only the highest in the world, but also one of the world's largest 5 mills in terms of gold recovery. More than 2,000 employees, round-the-clock operation and state-of-the-art equipment. All this has been set in motion at Kumtor for the sole purpose of producing gold bars in a small, unremarkable room. Very few people have ever seen the birth of gold, but happily we are granted such an opportunity.
Hello, come in please. What can I do for you?
I would like to see gold pouring. I've got the permission.
All right, please go to the examination area. Take all metal items out of your pockets and put them into the cell. Thank you. You are through with the examination, and now you can go on.
Thank you. At last, I'm heading to my destination. I'm going to the gold room, the place where gold is melted. It's very difficult to get in here. At the entrance, you will have to undergo close examination. You are not allowed to enter the room carrying your own gold things. Photography is permitted here, at just a few places, and in no way may you show the faces of the metallurgists. During gold pouring, a number of ingredients are added to the compacted gold powder produced by electrolysis. These include saltpeter, silica, borax, and soda. All these chemicals are needed to treat gold of admixtures remaining after processing before producing gold itself. This mixture is put into a melting furnace, which is heated up to a temperature of 1,200 degrees Celsius. The metallurgists, like regular cooks, are required to be very careful because this mixture must not bubble. These cooks are wearing a special fireproof outfit. At such a temperature, gold and admixtures, which are called the flux, are converted into a kind of plant oil and water. Gold behaves like water going down, while the flux, like oil, goes up. All associated metals, iron, tin, lead, antimony, that have settled with the gold on the cathode during the electrolysis are oxidized by saltpeter and turned into salts. During melting, gold is separated from the flux. Metallurgists see a clear difference between the flux and gold. This helps them remove the flux from the melting tank. The metallurgists take samples to enable the assaying lab to determine the gold content of the bars. For this purpose, they employ special vacuum flasks, which are dipped into melted gold. The lower portion of the flask being melted out, the vacuum pushes the gold up.
We break the outer glass covering.
Отсекаем полые части.
By doing so, we cut off hollow parts.
Цельная.
Finally, the time has come for the metallurgists to pour the gold alloy into special molds. After the bars have solidified, they are put onto a special table. Experts are able to determine the approximate gold content of the bars just by sight. More accurate data will be available from the assaying lab, where the samples will be sent after melting. The point is that gold produced here at Kumtor is classed as the door bars. It is not pure gold. It contains up to 80% of gold, as well as silver and copper admixtures. Sometimes they produce bars which contain more silver than gold. First, the bars are dressed and then weighed. Each bar carries a brand specifying its weight and number, after which it is removed to a closely guarded safe, inaccessible to outsiders. The production cycle is over. A few small gold bars are the result of tireless efforts made by thousands of people.
It's always surprising when you see your first gold pour about how little it looks in a gold bar with all this effort and mining to just get a gold bar. But that's gold mining worldwide, and I can tell you all other gold mines are the same. They always produce a small gold bar from such a large amount of tonnage and people.
These 8 bars were poured within 3 days. Their total weight is 183 kilograms, and they cost approximately $7 million. 2.5 employees and some 1,000 contractors have worked and continue to work to produce such bars. The door bars are Kumtor's final product. For gold to be transformed into pure 9,999 banking bars, it will be sent to the Kara-Balta refinery for processing. But this process, as well as gold exports, is in the exclusive charge of the state-run Kyrgyz JSC. Kumtor has nothing to do with the gold sales. Today, Kumtor is the largest mine operating in Kyrgyzstan. Its role in the economy is so great that the GDP of this country is estimated with due regard to Kumtor production. Kumtor accounts for a quarter of the national output, more than a third of national exports, and remains the largest taxpayer in Kyrgyzstan. It contributes more than $100 million in taxes and other payments. The Kumtor mine works like a clock for all 24 hours of the day and all 365 days of a year. This has become possible due to the reasonable distribution of resources, accurate planning, high professional qualities, and harmonious efforts of the mine employees, as well as exemplary labor, discipline, and compliance with safety rules. That's how the miners answer the challenges of high altitude. It is only in this way that they can mine ore and extract tiny gold particles at an altitude of 4,000 meters above sea level in a challenging environment such as that of the Tian Shan Mountains in Kyrgyzstan.